Alright, so if you know my channel by any means recently, chances are you would know my upload schedule is as consistent as Helen Keller shooting in a gun range. Now to help you guys sleep better at night, I would make an apology video where I sit in front of a camera, bawl my eyes out, and tell you how this will never happen again until the day I die. But if I'm being completely honest with you guys right now, it's definitely gonna happen again. So to help make sure that you guys get a little taste of Skrakes, something that'll keep you guys entertained for a second while I go off on much larger projects in the meantime, the series I'm talking about is Last Month, This Happened. Now Skrakes, you might be asking, while playing Marvel Rivals on your second monitor, what exactly is a Last Month This Happened? And that is a good question. Probably not a great question, but a good one nonetheless. Essentially, this series is about covering some substantial news or controversies that relate to horror gaming in one way or another. I plan on releasing these type of videos usually around the first week of the new month, so for this little pilot episode, I'll be covering some stuff that happened in February and then give my thoughts on it. It's kind of like if I made a standalone video about these topics, except these topics were supposed to be made as standalone videos weeks ago, but I digress. And to wrap things up, I also want to include some released or upcoming horror indie games that you should try out. Because honestly, why not? Maybe you'll find a game that you will really enjoy to play. Alright, I have nothing else to say for this intro, so without further ado, no more time to waste jumping straight into it. It's time for Last Month This Happened. PlayStation. To start things off, PlayStation hosted their regular State of Play event, and one game out of the bunch left a pretty sour taste in a lot of people's mouth. Why am I making a lot of tastes in people's mouth phrases? Anyways, if you have no idea what the State of Play is, keep it that way. You're in for constant disappointment. But if you really want to know, it's the annual event that Sony hosts, giving a spotlight on soon-to-be released games that'll come out, sometimes exclusively, on the current-gen PlayStation consoles. Showcasing on the 12th, this year's event had some honestly interesting releases, like a new Dave the Diver DLC, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, and, oh no, Five Nights at Freddy's starring the Mimic. But like I said, there is this one new game that people are more upset about than the rest, and that's because it's not a new game and instead Days Gone Remastered. Starring Deacon Saint Deadwife and his butt buddy Boozer, you can now finally replay this retro 6-year-old game that was almost lost to time on the ancient console known as the PlayStation 4. In this near 2-minute trailer, PlayStation Studios shows off some new features that players will get to experience. Of course, there will be some graphical rework to expect, or maybe not when looking at these side-by-side comparisons. But there's also going to be new modes like the speedrunner and permadeath that'll give you a reason to jump back in. There's also some new technical innovations like increased freaker count, Tempest 3D audio, and DualSense support. And above all else, there's now Photo Mode 2. I know, it's exciting, but please keep your pants on. Now, I always thought Days Gone was an okay game. I didn't think it was a bad game by any means. I mean, the gameplay itself was entertaining, especially being able to upgrade your bike and cruise around all of Oregon while killing freakers in that cult full of Tom McDonald lookalikes. But the story sucked heavy nuts. It dragged, it introduced an unnecessary antagonist in the final act, and the characters just were not memorable. I personally don't believe Days Gone needed a remaster. I think remasters, and remakes for that matter, are better fit for old games made for the 7th generation consoles or earlier. Games that hold a lot of nostalgia for fans but cannot be easily accessed because they simply aren't made to play on newer devices. Remastering older games not only give major reason for older players to return to it, but it's a great way to promote it to younger fans who never grew up nor played it before. Some great examples of how remasters or remakes should be handled are the first 6 Tomb Raiders remastered by Aspyr, the Resident Evil 4 remake by Capcom, and even the Bloodborne remaster made by From Software Incorporated. Wait, never mind, there is no Bloodborne remaster by From Software Incorporated. What the fuck, Sony? People have been begging for a remaster of this decade-old game for years, but no! Let's just go ahead and remaster the game directed by the guy who gets his titties twisted every time Astrobot Dare decides to pay homage to their game. Anyways, this remaster will be released on April 25th. If you've owned the game on PC or PlayStation 4, it'll be $10 to upgrade. If you're a new customer though, it'll be $40 on both platforms. I just want Bloodborne, man. Speaking of disappointing games, our next story comes from Roswell, Georgia, where a company is making all the waves for all the wrong reasons. This is Killing Floor, a game series where, now bear with me, you're on a certain floor and you kill anything that moves. Pretty kick-ass, right? Essentially, the entire series boils down to a greedy company based in England, because of course it's gotta be in England, who clone these mutants called Zeds. But they break out, and now it's up to you to kill them in the bloodiest way possible, all while heavy metal is blasting in your ears. These Zeds range from being simple clots and cysts that are relatively normal, all the way up to Skrakes who will completely rock your shit. By the way, cool name. That should be used in a YouTube channel. Now, the company responsible for developing and publishing this series is Tripwire Interactive. They've had the rights to Killing Floor since 2009, and since then they've made 4 mainline games, with the former 2 being the reasons why this series is absolutely beloved. And if you're wondering, the latter 2 is a subpar VR game and an Ouya game. A couple years ago, Tripwire announced their upcoming title, Killing Floor 3, which was supposed to be everything that made 2 so good, except expanded in every way possible. And in August of 2023, they released their first trailer, which hyped up a lot of fans, myself included. Since then though, development has left many feeling uncertain, with things unfortunately looking downhill from here. Now, let me be clear, this isn't a Tripwire's doomed from the start with how they've been handling things so badly type of case, cause this couldn't be anywhere farther from the truth. Since releasing their announcement video, Tripwire has released 17 additional videos about their Killing Floor 3. 4 of them are behind the scene devlogs, 5 are full soundtracks, and 7 are Zed reviews. Many of these videos show off amazing new features like cool weapons and the new attachments, larger maps, and the new and improved futuristic looking Zeds. On top of that, they've also released countless blog posts to help give better clarification to anyone who had questions or concerns about the game. There is a lot of information Tripwire has given us, which I couldn't be any more happy about. Unless you are Rockstar Games and are able to release 10 out of 10 games behind closed curtains, transparency is key to promoting a game. It establishes trust between the consumer and the company, and trust goes a long way in any media whatsoever. So Tripwire, amazing job for that. But they still fucked up big time. A few months ago, their YouTube channel released a 2-part dev diary where long-lasting members of the company discussed their evolution making Killing Floor 1 in 2009 to what it is today. However, in their second part, the devs go more in detail about what's new in Killing Floor 3, and one of the new features they discussed is not what the fans wanted at all. In the incredibly successful Killing Floor 2, leveling was kept simple. You or your friends could pick one of 10 perks to play as. Each perk offers a different basic starter bundle and associated weapons to buy later. They also have their own strengths and weaknesses against the different Zeds and will have different ways to gain XP faster. As far as leveling up goes, you have a max level of 25. Leveling up once will give you extra max health, armor, ammo, weight, or any sorts of things, and leveling up 5 times gives you one of 2 skills to choose from. The best part about these perks was that you were not subjected to any of them. If you rocked a field medic in the previous run, but now you want to be demolicious, then do it. And no matter what character you decided to play as, it didn't affect what perk you could play. In short, leveling up was simplistic, easy to digest, and unreserving. Now though, that's completely gone out the window. In Killing Floor 3, there are specialists, meaning if you pick a character, they're gonna have a set perk with set guns to buy and a set ultimate ability that you cannot change around because suck my dick. I guess every game on planet Earth needs to have specialists nowadays. If this was the only issue about Killing Floor 3, this would not be in the video. It's an annoying feature that nobody with 23 sets of chromosomes wanted, but it's not gonna ruin the game. Here's the big problem though. On February 27th, Tripwire put out their closed beta that many people were allowed to play. I don't think it costed any money to play, you just had to fill out an application to maybe get in, but I wouldn't know. I was too busy drinking for all of February. I was making YouTube videos. Yeah. That. I do know some people who did play the demo, and I did see other creators talk about their experience, and from what I can gather, this just is not Killing Floor. The Zeds look incredibly slow paced compared to their successors, making the overall pacing a lot more sluggish, and there's a lot of other differences compared to 2 that were completely unnecessary. Some smaller things I noticed is an explorable hub world that looks emptier than Kanye's mine on Galaxy Gas, the inventory system that allowed you to bring in as many weapons under a certain weight limit as possible is now gone. It's now replaced by a Call of Duty loadout screen with a set amount of primary and secondary weapons that you can pick from. Of course, there's the specialist skills and abilities that really cemented everyone's doubts about this future, and then the new trader who sounds like I'm sorry, I can't continue with this. Look at this game. Does this look good? Cause to me, this looks like a shitty Unreal Engine 5 game that was made by an amateur who then decided to deep fry the shit out of this game for whatever godly reason. Wait, what engine was this game made on? Oh. Yeah, that makes more sense. This is pitiful. I could go on about how disappointing this beta has been, and how much I am no longer looking forward for this game. Like, watching gameplay of this beta made me want to do nothing but play Killing Floor 2 instead, which is usually not what you want to do when you're making a sequel. But that's not what this video is about, and I don't want to make a 15-minute video on a game that I didn't have the opportunity to play. So instead, go check out the channel with the freakishly long names video on the game. It's really good, unlike this game. Before I move on, there is some silver lining to this disaster. Tripwire has quickly responded to the criticism towards their beta, and it seems like they are very worried about the state that Killing Floor 3 is in, which gives me some sort of relief. It seems like they obviously care about what people had to say about the beta, and I know I kinda sound stupid for saying that. I mean, it should be the bare minimum that a company would give a shit about their product, but then there's companies like Fantastic, who make games like The Day Before. You still think what I said was outlandish now? All in all though, I'm glad Tripwire has this relationship with the community to the point where they can actively listen and talk to their core audience about what needs to be improved, but at the current rate that Killing Floor 3 is going down, I would not purchase this game on day one. The next story comes from IGN as they broke the news of a Silent Hill game potentially in the works. Silent Hill is a survival horror game that was pretty similar to Resident Evil, but with far more psychological horror elements and fog and rust and whatever that is. Now, Silent Hill is a series that is not what it used to be. After the release of Silent Hill 3 in the late 2000s, Team Silent's numbers began to lessen, and by the time the fourth game was released, the original team behind the first three that were so beloved were no longer there. This caused the series to have some ups and downs, a lot of downs to be honest. More downs than ups, actually. Okay, the series hit rock bottom with Ascension. But their latest game, the Silent Hill 2 remake, received massive acclaim. The development team, Bloober, completely knocked it out of the park with their choices of voice actors, combat, and other drastic changes that just could not be replicated from the 24-year-old original. With the success of Silent Hill 2, and success they got, they sold over 2 million copies on all platforms. It's reported by IGN that Bloober and Silent Hill publisher Konami has partnered up once again for another Silent Hill project. It's not confirmed what this game will be about or when it's going to be released, but it's exciting to know that Konami is working with a company that could bring their series out of the mud for so many years. We've also yet to see what Silent Hill F or Townfall looks like, as both games are still in development, so things are really looking up for the series. God, publishers are so cool when they work hand in hand with the development team. I bet publishers would never do wrong to any development team ever. This last news story is less of a story and more of a memorial. In late February, Monolith Productions has been shut down by their parent company, Warner Bros. Studios. This company has been around making games for 3 decades at this point, first starting out in 1994. Since they were first founded, they have completely changed gaming, especially horror as a whole. Some of their most popular games consist of Condemned 1 and 2, Middle-earth, No One Lives Forever, and even the Fear series. If you haven't played Fear, go do that right now. This boomer shooter made 20 years ago somehow holds up and leaves you in awe with the technological advancements. It's so fucking good, and yet we'll probably never have a new one ever again. Now, before Monolith Productions was shut down, things had not been looking good for the company for a hot minute. In the last 4 years, Warner Bros. Has signed Monolith to develop a Wonder Woman game, which also will never see the light of day. But before that, though, they were given control to create a whole new IP after releasing Middle-earth: Shadow of War. But during the creation of this new IP, Warner Bros. Decided to can the project and instead make them develop the Wonder Woman game. Because of that, many developers were upset and had left the company, and this left Monolith Productions as a husk of what it used to be, with the remaining employees basically being in development hell for the next 4 years until they were put out of their misery. Well, not like they were put out of their misery like they were killed. I mean, maybe they were. We already know that Warner Bros. Has a thing for killing projects, so who knows? But regardless, this was more of an inevitable closure for a steadily declining company than it was for a shocking decision. Warner Bros. Were obviously throwing money away with the cost of the Wonder Woman game rising with not even a thought of seeing a return in it. So in a business point of view, it would make sense why Warner Bros. Would stop giving money to Monolith. Regardless though, this closure reeks of poor management, and I can guarantee the company was dead the second Warner Bros. Decided to stop production on Monolith's IP. So with that, we'll have a 10-bell salute to honor those at Monolith Productions. Hello, gamer. And that's all the major news I have for you guys. So that leaves the part of the video where I give out some indie horror game suggestions to you guys so you can go check them out. First suggestion I have to you is r.e.p.o. This game has been taking the internet by storm recently, and for very good reason. Created by Semi-Work, you and up to 5 of your friends are tasked with going to certain areas to extract all sorts of valuable items before you die to death from all sorts of monsters. It's a very similar premise to Lethal Company, even even down to how proximity chat is the way to play in this, but unlike Lethal Company, r.e.p.o. deals a lot more with physics and world interaction, making this game incredibly fun to play with some buddies. Not with randos though. If you're the type of person to play with randos on r.e.p.o. or Lethal Company or even Among Us when that game was popular, do me a favor and please go outside. Anyways, this game costs $8 on Steam, so go check it out. The next indie game that you all should check out is Full Fathom. Although this game is not out yet, it's planned to be released sometime this year, and its demo is free to play for anybody on Steam. Developed by Demon House? Developed by Matt Damon, this game is about you exploring the deep, dark, desolate ocean, trying to reach the remnants of civilization while you're in a submarine about as durable as Natalie Cuomo whenever she encounters a heckler on stage.
No, fucking look me in the eyes. You're putting negative fucking energy out here.
Think of Stranded Deep meets Iron Lung, but with even grittier graphics. That's basically what Full Fathom is about. Like I said, this is yet to be released as of making this video, but also, like I said, this demo is free to play, so go check that out. With all that said, this is the end of the first episode of Last Month This Happened. What did you guys think? With the direction I want to take this channel, I want to focus on longer style videos, going more in depth about games that I enjoy. Being able to make these smaller form reviews or news videos just isn't on my planner anymore, so I wanted to make this to both tell you all that I'm not dead, while giving you the scoop on everything exciting or worrying, while most of my attention still focuses on larger projects. So yeah, tell me what you all think about this premise down below. If you like my videos, hit that like button and subscribe. We're still so close to 10,000 subscribers, I can taste it. Anyways, I'll see you all in a later video. Bye for now.